Okay, these are the first seeds I'm going to plant, and this is Astrophytum hybrids from Japan, which I think Cactusmain is also growing. And what I did is I put them on a white sheet of paper so I can see the seeds better, and I divided them in half so that not all of one type is going to go in one bag, and that is a good idea from Cactusmain also, because if fungus or bacteria or something should get into one bag, then you've got another bag full of seedlings that is still good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these down on the ground so I don't jerk them loose. And I'm going to get my first pot. And I'm just going to take my seeds and try to scatter them as even as possible over the surface. I'm guessing there's about 25 seeds in each of these halves here, meaning I probably ordered 50. This came, I think, from a some kind of rinky-dink eBay store that really I don't think has a reputation much. All right, there's 1/2 in this pot, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a little bit of sand and put a very thin layer over the top of these seedlings. And the sand is still just a little bit warm. Okay, so you can see there's just a very thin layer over the top of that. And then I'm going to put them, each of these pots, in a separate bag. And you can see I've labeled the type of seedlings they are and the date that I put them in here, that I sowed them. And that's important because you got to go by recommendations on time to leave them in here, because they can stay in the bag, you know, sometimes for as much as a year, some of these types. So, and you don't want to disturb them until then, because this will maintain all of the moisture for you. Now, Cactusmain doesn't recommend doing this next part, but let's see, I don't know where my spoon went. There's another fella who recommended just putting a tablespoon of water in there beside the pot. I have no idea what I did with my spoons, but I'm not going to do it in this case because the ground in there is pretty wet. And I'm going to seal it shut, make sure it's sealed real good. And that's the way it stays. No watering, no direct sunlight, and keep it warm, really warm. When the nights start cooling down below 70 here, I'm going to have to get them on a heat mat. So there's one bag. And I'll get my second baggie full here. Second pot. It's just the potting soil in there. And it's wet on the surface. And I'm going to grab the rest of my seedlings, and they're stuck to my finger here. You can see. Well, there's dirt too, but I'm going to sprinkle those as evenly as I can on the surface. Try and make sure I get them all. You can also, in the case of some very tiny seeds, take a sheet of white paper and fold it and put the seeds down in the fold, and then just tap the paper gently to lay the seeds down where you want to go. And a lot of people recommend that method. And that was what I intended here, but I'm letting myself get a little bit distracted. Alright, so I have my seeds in the second pot, and I'm going to do my sand layer again on this. So let's get a little light layer of sand on that. And the reason I use the sieve on that is to, you know, to weed out any larger pebbles. What I used is plain gardening sand. Some people recommend sharp sand, and I'm not quite sure what that is, but I've not ever seen it around here. But this baggie here is, somehow I got a hold of one of my snack baggies, but I think it'll work fine. It's smaller than the sandwich bag. but it's also labeled, and I think it'll work just about as well because the soil level is down enough on this that the maturing cacti will have room to pop up there a little bit. So that one goes next to that one. And let's see. The next ones, these are all astrophytums I'm planting on this first round. The next one is astrophytum ornamentum, variation glabrescens. I don't know if you can read that. That is what's going in the next couple of baggies. And I think that's just a bishop's cap, but it's formed a little differently. I take, when they say glabrescens, I take that to mean kind of a flabby look to it. And this one doesn't have as many seeds in it, but they're bigger. I'm going to still divide them in half as evenly as I can and get another wet pot. Okay, and I'm going to use my finger method again. Here's the seeds. You can see those are a little bigger, and they're going to go on the surface here. Sorry, I'm going out of frame here quite a bit. I'm not used to making these videos. I don't want to bore anybody, so I probably won't go into great detail on all the other ones I'm sowing tonight. And if you, I don't know whether that'll count for the contest or not then, but I'll show you what else I'm planning on planting tonight. Let's get this one in the baggie. See, in the sandwich bag they got a little more room, and that's your little mini greenhouse for the next 3 to 6 to 12 months, depending on recommendations, which I'll be looking up as we go along. And there's that one. That's going over to the pile. Alright, I'm going to show you quickly what other type of cactus I'm planning on planting tonight for the contest, whether it's accepted or not. But I've got Aztecium hintonii. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And I've got Penioceras viperinus and Penioceras gregii variation transmontanus. So you can kind of see those in there. I don't know. Reading looks backwards on this because I've got the camera facing me, so you might be getting a mirror image, and if that's the case, I apologize. And then the other type of cactus I'm going to plant is Pelicephora valdesiana. And those are tiny little seeds in there. That'll be going in. And then I've got some Lapophora williamsi that I got from, I don't know what country they're in. I think maybe Germany. It's from a foreign seller anyway. I've got some of those. And then I've got some Rebutia albispina, albipilosa. I think it's a kind of a hairy little white Rebutia. And I picked all these for some reason, and I'd have to look them up again to see for sure what they're supposed to look like. But that's the gist of what I'm going to be doing here the rest of this evening, and I may just go ahead and plant some more, as I say, that I'm not going to put on the contest because I sure do have a whole bunch of cactus. But the thing I've got to watch out for is that I've only got 3 little warming mats, and that that's not going to go very far with all what I've got here. So in the winter time, because they will have to come indoors and go on the warming mats. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this is accepted in the contest, and bye y'all. Ooh, look at my fingernails. Ew.